24 hours or so after the win. What are your thoughts about that performance yesterday?
Team effort. Thought guys bought into what the plan was. Obviously, there were some changes. You saw what we did in the run game, get other players involved. I thought defensively, for the most part, what we wanted to do with the quarterback we did. There was times we let him escape out the pocket. We wanted to keep him in the pocket, but he did a good job of getting out. And I thought on the back end, Patrick Graham, as the game went on, got to what we thought would be our bread and butter in coverage and gave him some different looks and made him hold the ball. That allowed us to either have hits or make the quarterback throw inaccurate throws. Special teams, that was a really good unit we went up against. There were some physical plays out there, but I think the game really came down to that PAT and our guys, applying pressure and, them missing that PAT because they could have kicked a field goal to tie it up at the end.
You said throughout the offseason you expected Trey Tucker to have a big year, and we've seen that come to fruition the first few weeks. What's it been like to see him continue to make that ascension?
Yeah, I mean, like everything else, you wish there was enough footballs to pass around and give him more attempts and targets. But as you saw, obviously as a returner, as a receiver, give him a reverse. However we can get the ball in his hands. I mean, that speed is legit. I mean, when he's moving, he's moving. So I think in year two, and as Trey is building up his confidence, especially from the end of last season, it's really good that we find ways to get creative. Again, we'd love to get him vertical because that's a big play for us and opportunities. But just more creative ways we can get the ball in his hands, the better. I think when you got young players like him, Brock, Big Mike, and then obviously you got the two guys, with Jacoby and Adams. There's just not enough footballs. But the opportunities when he gets the ball in his hands, most of the time something's good for the Raiders happening.
We talked about the confidence that Ja'Cory Bennett's playing with, and he's had a lot of pass breakups on third down, the money down as he called it last night.
Yep.
Like almost leads the league in that. How big is that when it matters the most, he comes through?
Huge. I mean, again, I talked about it before. A guy just keeps improving each and every down. But when you can do it on money down when it counts, or down in the red zone, right, or on fourth down, third down, 2 minute, especially when we know where the ball's going. I mean, half the time he's lined up on number 2, right? That's where the ball's going. That last breakup on third down. Really good with him, great technique, and I think, credit to, his position coaches just working on that off to the side as much as we can, and him just being focused and being detailed. I think it's very difficult to play corner in the National Football League because every time somebody catches the ball on you, you kind of get into your feelings a little bit, but he's been mentally tough to bounce back and just go on from play to play.
A couple of players talked about maybe breathing a sigh of relief after last week and getting a win after everything you guys kind of went through, and you talked about it last night too, being a difficult week. As you reflect on the win yesterday, how satisfying is it, and how tough was last week for everybody to go through?
Yeah, I mean, I addressed how tough it was. It was just, disappointing. When you have a disappointing week, you can't recover until the next week until you do something different to change it. And the good thing about it, and I'm gonna use what Robert Spillane said, and it's the word I said at the start of the week last week, is I'm proud of the business decisions our team made because they made some really good ones last night. That was good business decisions. And to see them go out and really take pride in their body of work and our staff, and keep everything close together and tight-knit was really a credit to what we've been building over this offseason and into the season. How satisfying? I don't want to be too happy because we want to stack wins. So we don't want to sit there like we won the Super Bowl because we won the game, but we need to put on, like I said before, be consistent and put on winning performances each and every week.
Had to go into the lab a little bit to figure out a way to win without some of your better players. Let's go Devontae on offense. Are some of the things that you guys came up with that we saw yesterday, are those things that you feel can be part of things even when Devontae comes back?
It has to be. It worked. It has to be. I think when you get Devontae, you know what you're going to get, right? You're going to get double coverage over there. You're going to get a safety over the top. So we expect that. It's different when he's not in the game. How do teams play you? Well, this team, a lot of single high, a lot of man coverage, a lot of different opportunities for other guys to make plays. So I think each and every week's a change. To sit there and say we're going to look this exact same this week as we did or we will next week versus the Broncos, I can't sit there and tell you that today. We got to do whatever it takes to win. Look, last week or yesterday, it wasn't about throwing a rock. It was about getting to the perimeter, getting to the edges, running the football a little bit more mid-zone than wide zone yesterday. That showed up, right? So I thought the O-line did a really good job as the game went on. Credit to that defense, really good defense, good players over there, but I thought our guys wore on them as the game went on. I thought we had more tempo, more energy, and more physicality.
Coach, you've talked about finding a way not to get too high or low after these wins or losses. Is there anything you're learning through this process that you implement this week, something new to maintain consistency to keep? Yeah,
I'm not there yet just because still reviewing the film, but definitely gonna look at the week between Baltimore and Carolina. We don't want to have that, so obviously not gonna mimic that week, right? So I'm gonna look at some things differently, and whatever we can do to get the team going, that's my job to do.
What are the plans with Max and Devontae at practice this week, and is Michael Mayer back in the building?
But Max and 17 all depends on where they're at health-wise. As of right now, status quo, and Mike is still dealing with personal.
You do what you did yesterday with the receivers. What does that do for the running backs themselves, opening it up for them, getting the opponents going sideways like that?
Well, one, I think it makes the defense tired because when you're chasing these little receivers that run 4-2, 4-3, from the numbers of numbers, that gets guys fatigued. And I think you saw that from their defense as the game went on. But more importantly, I loved how our offensive line, I'll start there because they've been getting beat up pretty well. I loved how they came off the rock. I thought Jackson Powers did an outstanding job playing physical, finishing. I thought the rest of the group really kind of strained more than we had in weeks prior, and I thought our running backs was finishing. We were running behind our pads. We were leaning forward. Even on the 1 or 2 yard gains, guys, the power was moving. It was moving in the direction we wanted to move. So at the end of the day, the run game is, and you even hear Luke Getsy talk about it, it's all 11, right? So when we're running with the running backs, receivers got to block. And obviously when we do things with the receivers, the guys on the other perimeter, they got to block for their players. So the more and more we can do and get guys involved that are playmakers and help our team win, that's what we're going to do.
Speaking of that, on that DJ Turner touchdown run, Trey Tucker had a hell of a block in front. What does that mean when you see a wide receiver blocking for his brother like that to get him to the end zone?
Yeah, I mean, look at on that play. It was really Trey Tucker and Brock Bowers, right? A rookie and a second-year player out there and giving whatever they can to strain. And that's why I said the biggest difference in this game, obviously for us, I thought we played harder. I thought our effort was there. I thought the strain to finish the 1-2 to get a hat for a hat. And then obviously, like we always talk about, when our playmakers get the ball in their hands and make something happen, and that happened.
You mentioned officials talked to you about Jackson's intensity. It must be good to hear for us as a coach. And also, what do you tell Jackson as far as how to proceed from going forward?
Yeah, I never want to tell a guy to speed up, and I don't really want to tell him to slow down. So we'll walk that fine line, but it's really good. It's no different than Max, right? I talk about that. Like, I'm not ever going to slow Max down. I'm not going to slow Jackson down. We just got to be smart, and we don't have no penalties. But the physicality, the intent is there, and that's what we want up front.
Tony, how much of a breath of relief was it when you get the running game going and it just opens up everything else? And then ironically too, you got 2 receivers that have 2 huge runs.
Yeah, no, huge. I mean, it's something we've been working on for 3 weeks. No, let's go back. Even since the preseason games, like, hey, man, come on, let's get this running game going. Let's get some positive yards. Let's get these chunk runs, these explosive runs, and that really showed up. Again, that's for a defense, you don't want that. That's one thing that plays in your mind. You can throw the ball for 500-600 yards, but when a team is running the ball on you, that gets into your head mentally, emotionally, and physically, and it just wears on you. So the more we can do that, that opens up our play pass, our poke action, our keepers, things of that nature we got to do. And obviously, last night, maybe not statistically what we wanted from a passing game, but it's efficient.
It's always about improving even from wins. I think you had 3 punts in your last 3 possessions, aside from the one at the very end. You talk about closing out a lot. What's the next step for the offense to be able to close that out like that?
I mean, we go to it, right? It's 3rd and 1, got an opportunity to get a first down, and we don't make it. And then also we turn the ball over and they score and the game now changes a little bit. So those are things that we were talking about in the headset on the sideline. We all knew this was a great opportunity. Maybe not to finish the game, but to keep the momentum going, to keep the clock in our favor. That's something to do. Obviously to a start that we wanted to in the first quarter, but it picked up in the second and third, late, middle of the fourth quarter. But that's one thing you want to do. When you got a team down by 10 points, you want to finish them. You don't want to allow them to get the ball back. Even though it's 8 minutes a game, you're kind of in that 4-minute mode where you want to keep the ball back, keep the defense fresh so we can do what we did at the end of the game, rush the passer.
A couple of weeks ago, you talked about how Robert Spillane has really changed the narrative of what people view him as a linebacker. Now, obviously, with there's so many injuries on the defense, how vital has he really been to this defense?
Yeah, man, he's our bell cow. If Max is our superhero, I mean, he's the next thing we got to it, and he's been there every snap. Has not missed 1 snap, I don't believe, this season. Makes all the calls, makes all the checks. When you see him after the game, you see a guy that played balls to the wall. And it's nothing more pleasure for me as a former linebacker to watch that from our middle linebacker. A guy who came in with a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's proven everybody. You don't do what he's done 4 weeks in a row and say that's a fluke. He's one of the better linebackers in the National Football League, and I'm glad he's on our team.
Coach, you ended the game Sunday leading a big game from a lot of the younger players. What does it do for the team that they actually stepped up and had a good game, those young players?
Confidence. Last year when I took over, a lot of what the success was off our younger players. What happened a little bit earlier this year in Game 4, and we always talk about it, you hear it, the mantra, like next man up mentality, but normally it's like the guy's a little bit older. He's not a rookie or, it's a core special teams guy. But I think that's a credit to these gentlemen taking pride in their work, understanding that there's a great opportunity for them. And listen, when you make opportunities, you get more opportunities.
You're 4 games in. What are you seeing from Gardner so far?
Pretty much what I thought we'll see. I think there's some plays that I know we want and we want to take back, but also see some moxie there. I see confidence. I see a guy that went on. It's more about on the sideline than in the building. Just keeping guys calm. He does have a good presence about himself. We're kind of where we're at right now, 2-2. And is that good or is it bad? I don't know, right? I don't know where people had us at, but I think for us, we know there was opportunities there that we wish we could have and make them. There were some throws last night. We make them, maybe that game gets wide open early on, but we don't, and we got to do a better job of doing it. But I think there's still improvement there for Gardner, our offense, and the team.
Coach, it looked like it was Christian Wilkins that took Michael Mayer's spot on the field goal and extra point protection unit. What does it say about him that he would do that, and what message does that send to the team that a guy like that is willing to?
Yeah, one of your highest paid players is the wing guy on PAT and field goal. That's impressive because you worry about that because that's one of those deals where you're always looking to make sure he gets up after every play. But it's team player, man, team player, and we talked about it. Like nobody's bigger than team, nobody's in front of the shield, and I think once we get everybody bought into that, which we're really, really close to doing, I think it speaks volumes. Again, when your best players stand up and do the little things, how can the guy that's at the bottom of the totem pole not do it?
Coach, just thoughts on Alex Madison. Seemed pretty productive through 4 games. Just your thoughts on how he's performed.
Yeah, he's deserved more reps, and he'll get them.
Like toward the end of the game, Dylan Parham came out due to injury. Is there any update on his status?
No, it isn't. They're still in there now, so hopefully he come. I think he could have finished the game, but I think also he's being cautious. But as of right now, I have an update today.
Coach, not only did the players feed into it, but it also sounded like the fans, fed into what you were talking about coming back and that positive response, and it sounded like they heard you and they were there last.
Yeah, listen, the fans have been great. The fans haven't been a problem. The fans show up. You know how Raider Nation is, man. They love you, they hate you, they come back to love you again, and that part you appreciate because you know what you're getting each and every week, right? It's honest, you respect it, and they don't hide their emotions. But it's really big because as that game was going, right, first quarter not the way the Raiders wanted, halftime tied up, and then you get that fourth quarter, and when we really needed them to be loud and be disruptive and get the guys going, and you can see hopefully on our sideline the energy that they create and they bring, that really fuels our players, to be honest, especially when we got guys there that, their first time in certain roles and it's a big moment, it's a third down, we need to get a stop, or, we got to make the right call adjustments-wise in the secondary. That's huge because all we do is work with music. So the energy they bring, the noise, the loud, banging on there, the black hole, hearing those guys bang on the pad. I love it. I wish we get louder and louder, and obviously we got to keep performing well at home to keep that home field advantage.
That's good.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Christian, you guys, obviously on defense were missing a few players yesterday and stepped up and closed out the win. What was it like for you to see that unit kind of step up in the absence of Crosby and some other guys?
Yeah, no, that was great. That was a lot of fun to be a part of yesterday. It was really a team effort and a team win, and we were counting on guys to step up and excel in their roles and give us a little bit more, and they were able to do that. I don't know if y'all noticed, it's the fall in Las Vegas, but it was snowing up in Allegiant last night. Snowman did his thing, obviously closing the game out. That was awesome to see, and just a great moment for him, because he puts in a lot of work, and he's a guy who's had a crazy story and a crazy journey. So I'm glad he was able to get a moment like that last night. So, it was cool to see that. Not just him, but just a lot of guys, just everybody kind of stepped up and played well and did what it take to win. So.
Christian, you're an established veteran, but there was a time when you were a young player, and opportunities come, and do you respond or don't you? Mm-hmm. Now, as an established veteran, looking at some of the young players that were leaned on pretty heavily yesterday, and they responded. How good does that make you feel to see young kids? No,
it's definitely so nice to see. Because that's just how this league goes. You never know when your opportunity is going to come. You're never going to know when you have to be counted on by your teammate, coaches, whoever, and when your number's called, and when it is. And when to see guys, perform, in high stakes situations. When the game's on the line, even Palomar, there's just a lot of guys who were able to step up and come up big when we needed them the most. So that was definitely great to see, and it's just nice as a guy being kind of having some perspective now to being able to see that and just like, man, I love that for those guys, love them to be able to have those moments and step up big for us.
What does it do for the confidence of a young player, and then also how differently do they maybe get looked at amongst their peers?
Well, definitely, you just shows that you can do it. So and just being able to, hopefully, that they can show up consistently and continue to build and just keep stacking that, because again, we all put in a lot of work, and and I know it's real rewarding for those guys, and you definitely get a lot of respect from your peers to be able to do it when bullets are live, and it's it's a game. It's different when you're out there at practice and stuff, but for guys to step up like that and show what they can do when the game's on the line, that's huge.
You were out there on the field goal and the extra point protection unit yesterday. I guess why did you want to do that? Why were you willing to do that? And I guess you did it in Miami too.
Yeah, no, I've always been a part of special teams my whole career, and that's something I enjoy and take a lot of pride in for multiple reasons. Just because, well, I feel like I can do the job, whatever they're asking me to do on special teams on the field goal units and whatnot. And then also it gives me an excuse to run out on the field with the offense when they score. So that's also a lot of fun just to be able to celebrate with those guys. And kind of was joking with some of the guys. They're like, how the hell did you even show up here? They're like, I wasn't expecting to see you in the end zone celebrating, but that's just what I do, what I've always done. And I love that. I don't care how tired I am or when it is in the game, I'm always going to go celebrate with my guys in those moments, celebrate them and them having big moments and making big plays. So, and then just got to catch my breath and get ready to go do my job on field goal. So,
Speaking of celebrations, Christian, who came up with the Dirty Dancing thing with AJ to try to pick him up?
Yeah. I mean, that didn't go as planned. I mean, we talked about it and everything. No, I'm just kidding. But but no, I guess it was kind of like, I don't know. He went for the jump. We usually go for the chest pump jump, but I needed to save my energy. I had to go for defense. So I just, wanted to hold him and let him have his moment. It was like the, Mufasa y'all know the story, the Lion King, Yeah, Rafiki. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
I know you said a few times, you don't get too wrapped up in the stats and, the 2 wins you guys had this season, whether it was the Max's sack against the Ravens or even Charles's sack yesterday, you getting pressure up the middle. Is that kind of another testament to that, just being able to open up things for your teammates?
Yeah, just, whatever is asked for me to do. And, I always try to do my job at a high level and just, do whatever it takes to win. And, that's always my biggest thing. And just as long as, you're improving as the team, as a unit, and as an individual, that's all I really care about, and, never really been caught up in stats for real. Obviously they're nice, but I never really, as long as you make winning plays and, that's the most important thing.
Obviously, you played with them before, John Jenkins, Adam Butler, but just to see them continue playing at such a high level next to you, how much of it is, just something that astonishes you, but also just an assistance to you in what you do?
No, those are my guys. And, speaking to Jenk, we go way back. He's been a long-time teammate of mine going back to my rookie year. And Adam, I've been able to play with him before. And, those guys definitely give me a lot of life for sure. Just continue to see them doing it. Adam played out of his mind yesterday. Shout out to him. Jenk's just an old, like a Cadillac, just an old reliable, just vet and such a calming presence on the field and everything. So it's just fun to go to work with those guys every day. And, they're still, Jenk's still my OG, so I'm still learning a lot from him. As much as I'm looked at as a vet and established guy in the league, I still look to him for a lot. Same with Adam. He's been around the league a little bit longer than me. So I definitely count on those guys every day, just their energy, their juice, and their wisdom on and off the field.
Christian, last week you spoke about the football season being kind of a roller coaster up and down and not allowing your teammates to be so high. Obviously this week you all responded from last week, but how do you make sure that this high doesn't get too high?
Yeah, no, it's the same kind of approach. If you take the 24-hour rule, approach in the NFL, that's kind of the best way I look at it and always what it is. You celebrate, you enjoy, you do what you need to do for those 24 hours, then, hey, put your head down, get back to work, start getting ready for the next opponent, win, lose, or draw. And if you take that approach and, I'll encourage guys to do that, hey, that was cool, but let's keep stacking because typically the good teams in the league continue to stack wins and don't stack losses. So, that's kind of my approach and my mindset going forward.
Is that kind of why it's so important for you to celebrate those small moments that you do have during the game?
Yeah, definitely. And just because in general it's hard to win in this league, so you definitely got to, it's hard to make plays. It's hard to win in this league. It's hard to be a productive player. It's hard to, this league is hard. It's like I said before, it's a grown man's league. So nothing ever really comes easy. So that's why, again, you just got to stay even killed through it all. Enjoy the, enjoy the roller coaster and just, take things as they come.
Christian, how different was the energy with Max not being there, not
Yeah.
only on the sidelines, but in the huddle, on the line? And then what did it mean for him to FaceTime in and talk to guys afterward in the line?
Yeah, I definitely felt like, obviously there's no replacing Max with his energy and what he brings, to the game and, to all of us. But I just felt like, again, so many guys just stepped up big in his absence and just bringing the energy, bringing the juice, just playing loose, playing with their hair on fire. And that was a lot of fun. And then, just to mess around on FaceTime afterward. And, he was excited. And and just to see his genuine excitement for guys and how everyone stepped up and how hard everyone played, I think that was really cool just because, his leadership and his role in the team means so much. So it was cool for a lot of guys.
And what did you see out of Tyree during the game yesterday?
Say that again?
What did you see out of Tyree?
Oh, yeah, Tyree did a good job out there. Again, just doing what we asked of him, just playing solid, was able to get some pressure and do some good things, and we were able to work well together. So, he's steady improving, so it's great to see that, him as a young player just continue to prove, improve each week, really. So that's I'm excited for him.
Quarterback the last 2 weeks.
Say that again, sorry.
You've gotten to the quarterback the last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
last 2 games. Is any of that attributed to getting more comfortable in the scheme or chemistry on the line, or is it not that different when you change schemes playing that position on the inside?
There's a lot of factors that go into things, but just to pinpoint one thing, there's a lot of different things, just me getting comfortable with my guys, my teammates, the scheme, there's a lot of different things, but again, like I said last week, I just like to be able to do whatever it takes to win, just to contribute as much as I can as possible, and just be able to make plays for this team.
Yeah.
Thank you.